Persuade me to give a damn, it just don't phase me. I got my Xbox, she can't play me. Money in a text box, I get paid. We the best. We the best. No contest. We the best. We the best. No contest. We the best. We the best. There ain't no rest. For the wicked, I'm bad and I'm blessed. Put it to the test. For the rest, there ain't no contest. So what's next? Got me leveling up, I'm obsessed. I bring the fire like I'm possessed. My personnel and my clique is the best. There ain't no contest. There ain't no one like, cause are you dumb or you crazy? There's no way, G. My clique, we handling biz while you and your clique just act fugazi. You couldn't persuade me to give a damn, it just don't phase me. I got my Xbox, you can't play me. Money in a text box, I get paid. We the best. We the best, best. We the best, best. No contest. My clique is the best. We the best. We the best, best. We the best, best. No contest. My clique is the best. We the best. We the best, best. We the best, best. No contest. My clique is the best. We the best. We the best, best. We the best, best. No contest. My clique is the best. We the best. We the best, baby. No contest, baby. We the best, baby. No contest. We the best, baby. No contest, baby. We the best, baby. Yes, baby. Yes, we the best, best.
Hey, everybody, welcome into the Arena Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast. This is episode 171. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley of Burleyman Gaming, Turn-Based Carl, and Fubu87. Welcome back to the Arena, guys. It's really good to see you guys again. And for all of you that are joining us, thank you so much for your patience and waiting for us to come back. I had some, issues going on in life, as we all do. So thank you so much for your patience. And hey, we're back. So welcome back in, guys. So Burley, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back here chatting with all you guys again. I've been missing this. This is always a fun time.
Yeah, Carl, welcome back, and hope you're doing well. How's it going, man?
Yeah, it's good. Things are good. Yeah, I like the new intro you got there.
Thank you.
Looks like you did some work in the time off.
Yes.
And that song you picked specifically for this episode, I was like, well, it's got a rap. He's talking about Xbox in it. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
It's a bulb.
Yeah, well, it's like Hellblade 2, and we're going to be talking about that during this episode, game. So, I heard the song and it had Xbox in it. I'm like, I got to put it in for this one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fubu, how you doing, man? It's good to see you again.
I want to look at the last episode that I was in, and right now to see how much fat I got, because this isn't looking good, man. I need to hit the gym.
All right.
Doing great. Love to be back here with you guys and with the people watching us. Also, welcome back. And we got a great show for you guys. It's going to be great.
Yeah, we got a really good show. We're going to be talking about May. We've got just a little under a week left in the month, but we figured, hey, let's go ahead and do a full recap because there's a lot of stuff to talk about that went on this month. The Helldivers 2 situation with the PlayStation Network. We're going to talk about that. Assassin's Creed Shadows. We got some Shadows to talk about. Square Enix going multi-platform. and then all the stuff with Xbox, including our take on Hellblade 2. So yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about in this episode. So let's go ahead and get right to it. So this week, we're not going to be talking about the games we've been playing and the games that we will be playing and things like that, and our picks of the week. We'll save that for next week because we got so much to talk about in this episode. So let's go ahead and jump right into the first story because, Helldivers 2 is such a great game, and it's very, very successful, but Sony had some other ideas. They wanted to make sure that all the Helldivers players on Steam had to have a PSN account. So those that didn't have a PSN account, they were like basically going to have to be forced to make a PSN account. And that did not sit well with a lot of gamers. And obviously the game started to get review bombed. And PlayStation had to, retrack and, change their policy on this. Burley, I'm going to start with you on this. So let's talk about what's going on here. And what was PlayStation's motive for doing this, you think?
Well, their motive was they want to get everyone in on PSN. That's their motive. They want to get you in there, make sure you have an account so they can send you emails and be like, hey, since you like Helldivers 2, consider buying this. This is coming to PC. This is that. This and that. And just get you and try and get you to buy more of their products. Yeah, this was not a smart move by Sony. This was just like, what were you thinking? Because I think the sales numbers came out and it was 65% of Helldiver 2 players are PC. I picked it up for PC as well. And it runs great on PC and all that, and it's a great game, but it was just such a stupid move of why would you do this? Because you're now putting a thing, and then the part of the thing that also happened, besides not just refunds, is the game wasn't being able to be sold in certain other countries that you can't make a PSN account. So they literally took the gun and shot themselves in the foot, screwing them out of future sales and poisoning the well, doing damage to the brand.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time. I mean, they've done that several times and tried to get away with it. And then, of course, because of the bad publicity and, of course, on social media and everywhere else, they had to backtrack. So, yeah, I just don't understand it. But, Fubu, what are your thoughts on this? And, when it comes to Steam, Sony is figuring out, the PC side of things very, very slowly, it seems. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, forcing people to make PSN accounts, it's like forcing a fart. It's probably going to be shit. So that wasn't a good idea. That wasn't a good idea. Look, what baffles me the most is Sony does realize that PSN accounts can be done in certain countries. So they are excluding that market. That's the biggest problem. If they want money, excluding market is not a good idea because you want all the money that you can get. Then people review bombing the game. This is something I don't agree because it wasn't the game developers from Helldivers still saying, we want this. No, it was Sony. They had no word on it. If they want to keep getting Sony support, they have to say, yes, sir. Yes, you can do that. It's okay. They have to say yes. They can. They don't have a word on that. So I think review bombing the game wasn't the smartest move. You can review bomb bad reviews on Sony's part. Go review bomb PlayStation 5 or something like that. I don't know. You can do so much thing. The game. It's not the game's fault. It's Sony's fault. I know that they're doing the same thing with, if I'm not mistaken, Ghost of Tsushima, but only for the online part. If you want to play the offline, you can do it normally. You don't need a PSN account. And another thing that I don't get it, Skull and Bones, if I'm not mistaken, when you wanted to play that on PlayStation, I think you have to make a Microsoft account. I know there's a game like that you need to do a Microsoft account, and no one was complaining that.
Well, Sea of Thieves maybe.
Sea of Thieves, I don't know. It was one.
Yeah. I don't know.
I knew it was a pirate game. Yeah, it's a pirate game. I don't know. I couldn't remember the name. And when that happened, you didn't hear anyone complaining from PlayStation sides complaining that, oh, I have to make a Microsoft account. So I think there's a double.
Probably to play Skull and Bones, you probably need an Ubisoft account, right? I mean,
yeah, I was going to say you need a Ubisoft account, and that's something you should complain about because it's Ubisoft.
The reason right there, Fubu, that what we're getting to is that it's because they took something away from you, right? They didn't start that way. If they did, again, nobody would have really talked about it. There might have been. I don't know what the plan would have been for those countries where you can't use PSN. Who knows? But there was the story as part of this that originally this was going to be required, but they had all those troubles with the server at launch of this game. Because there was too many players and they couldn't handle it, and they were like, "All right, we're just not going to do that yet." Yeah. And then they turned this whole thing on, and then everybody got pissed off because you changed something. And I don't know, Steam people are very sensitive for some reason.
Look, I do agree in a sense. Like, I think we should let PlayStation be PlayStation, Steam be Steam, Xbox being Xbox. I don't think you need to force people going into other people's environments, because some people, they don't want to play on PlayStation. They don't. It doesn't make sense for them. They rather play on PC, and I do understand, because you can do such more fun things with games on PC, because you can mod all you want. You can do that on PlayStation and Xbox that much, unless it's a Bethesda game where you can do that. But if people want to play on PC, don't force people stuff. If doing a PSN account is so easy to do, if they really wanted to have a PSN account, they would have done it a very, very long time ago. So I don't agree the way Sony led this and taking the part of bombing the game, good on the gamers complaining something they don't want.
Yeah, I think the review bombing, like, I get it. These people were very upset about it because they might even not be able to play the game, right? That makes sense. I think people are overreacting when it's in a country where you can just sign up for a PSN account. Like, I think a lot of us are pretty much used to doing that kind of thing. Like I said, with Ubisoft and there's other games where you play it and it's like, create an account with that, blah, blah. I'm like, you don't want to do it, but like, you're like, whatever, it's free, whatever. I actually didn't do it for Baldur's Gate 3. Like, when the thing comes up, it asks you to make a Larian account. I was like, I thought about it once, and they're like, no, I don't want to waste my time. I just want to play the damn game. Like, just hit play. I don't want to do this. But sometimes you do it because there's advantages, right? Like, if you want to do like the cross save stuff sometimes for games, like, you got to have the account with the company. So,
it's like Batman, and you have to do the Warner account, and then you get some skins and stuff like that. Yeah. It's the same thing.
But the review bombing, like, if you look at it right now, I was double checking it to see, and overall still at 66% mixed, which that sucks for the game. Yeah, because people are going to see that, and even the more, actually, no, sorry, that's recent. Sorry, that's the recent reviews, which is the last 30 days, 66%. Overall, it's at 73%. Which is still low, right? For like the overall, you would think for that game, like that was like, people were loving that game. I assume before all this happened, it was way higher. I don't know if somebody has that information.
It was around 85, I think.
Okay. Yeah, it was really high.
Yeah.
That's a damn shame, but who knows?
Look, I just want to say this.
Go ahead, Fubu. Go ahead, and then I'll.
No. I was going to say, like, I think the Helldivers developers made it really funny, because there was an item that you could acquire in game, which is a cape, which shows the like and dislike ratio, I think, from Steam. There's the cape that they had their fun with it. And
that's funny.
That was really funny. That was really funny.
Yeah.
So they took it in stride, and they showed that they're with the community in a way, and they're making fun of the situation, making light of everything.
Now, what do you think PlayStation could have done differently in this case? I mean, I'm thinking kind of like with YouTube and a lot of like videos that content creators make, how you have a watermark, at the bottom of the screen. So like on Steam, PlayStation could have had like a small watermark, like an advertisement that said, join PSN today. or something like that. Something that the player could minimize that watermark if they don't want to do that. I mean, that's a strategy I think that PlayStation could have used in this case. What kind of strategies do you think PlayStation could have done and could use in the future to avoid the negative publicity when it comes to trying to force players to create an account, even though it's free?
Give free stuff. If you sign to the PlayStation Network, we'll give you this new set of armor, we'll give you this weapon, and people would do that instead of forcing people. And make the weapon OP so everyone gets it. That's the strategy.
No. As much as you want the weapon OP, you got to have the weapons not be OP. If you play the game, you'll understand.
I got the game. I love it. It's so good.
Yes. But like you have the one little announcement thing that you can quickly check in the game. You could have put it there and like give an extra skin or something, and stuff like that. And you could have had fun with it. Like make a PSN account and join and help out democracy and stuff like that. You could have had some fun with it, and it would have you would have got some. You wouldn't have gotten everyone, but you would have got a percentage going over and then been like, oh, they're trying this. They're being hilarious. They're being funny. Good on them.
Yeah. I think it's just Sony, not really understanding the PC market too well yet. I mean, they're sort of just getting into like really putting stuff on PC. This is the first game they've launched, day one on PC.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything they can do now. I think it is what it is, and people will eventually forget about it. But people are going to hold a grudge for a bit. I'm sure there are people who are like, writing bad reviews on Ghost of Tsushima because they're like, oh, you have to have PSN for online. Screw this game. Those people are going to be out there until some time passes and people just kind of forget about this crap. Because at the end of the day, it's not really that big of a deal because they turned it back, but. In the future, I'm pretty sure it's always going to be the case, right? Every online PlayStation game on Steam is probably going to require this.
Yeah, definitely. I see it going that way.
All righty. So with that, let's go ahead and jump to the next story. So Assassin's Creed getting a new game, guys, and it's finally coming to Japan. Assassin's Creed Shadows. So we're going to show the trailer. We're going to talk about it. But it's gotten mixed reviews, and there's
mixed reviews.
Mixed reviews because of the fact that one of the characters in there, Yasuke.
Okay. There's backlash
for
nonsense.
For nonsense, exactly. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead.
I want to check the like-dislike ratio. Let me just see.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and show the clip here, guys. So let me go ahead and get that going. So, but
what do we got
yeah.
here?
So let me just chime in on this real quick, and then I'll get your guys' take on what you think we're gonna get in the game and what you think of the Yasuke character. So, first of all. There's a lot of people in the media saying that Yasuke in history was a samurai. He was not a samurai. He was basically a sword bearer for Oda Nobunaga at the end of the 1500s. And of course, Nobunaga was towards the end of his life. He had basically became one of the de facto rulers of Japan. And when he first met Yasuke, he was intrigued by him because of his he had never seen a black person before. And it was interesting in history in the sense that Nobunaga basically thought that he had just a bunch of ink all over his skin and body. And so he was so intrigued by him that he made him a sword bearer. But after a few years and after Nobunaga perishes, I'm not going to get into spoilers because that's probably going to be throughout the game. Yasuke just disappears from the historical records. So my
assassins.
My question is, who are the Templars going to be in this game? What faction are the Templars? I mean, because Nobunaga's faction, they're probably going to, side with the assassins, but who are going to be the Templars? Fubu, I'm thinking it could be the Portuguese.
No.
Yeah, let's blame the Portuguese people.
I
man.
know it's like they're like in Shogun, it's like but
Look at that
Hey,
time.
you guys guessed the title of the first DLC. Blame the Portuguese.
Isn't Nobunaga generally portrayed as the bad guy though?
Well, in history, he was a bloodthirsty general, and then later in his life, he was just just a complete murdering wanton.
So he's the Templars.
Who knows? Well, I mean, basically, he berated most of his lieutenants, and the one who actually took over power after his death, his main lieutenant, Toyotomi Hideyoshi. Basically, he called him a monkey. Just literally called him a monkey all the time. So it'll be interesting how they portray Nobunaga. But I mean, what are you guys' thoughts and the fact that there's a lot of people out there that don't want to see Yasuke be one of the main protagonists in this game? What are your thoughts on this? Burley, I'll start with you again. What do you think on this?
I'm interested to see where this game goes, and like the trailer. I like the trailer. I'll say that, but this trailer just is like as cool as all this is, showing us the two different protagonists that we're gonna play. I want gameplay and I want info, like that. Like that's one thing I kind of hate, that they're like, hey, we're gonna release this trailer, and then in like 20 days later, we're going to have the Ubisoft event that actually shows you, because is this going to be more like Mirage style? Is this going to be the RPG style like Valhalla and them? It'd be a bloated big, like how big's the map? The outrage and just the misinformation that's being spread. And then people are like, well, this game is not going to be historically accurate. Like, none of these are ever historically accurate. They have some historic truths that are right, but then they veer off. They do stuff like, it's just like,
because it's a video game,
right? Exactly.
Because it's a video game, and they want to satisfy the gamers out there, So
don't use Assassin's Creed games to study for your exams. That's my tip. Don't do that.
Yes, exactly.
No, Fubu. I mean, in Origins and Odyssey, the discovery mode. Yes, you could use that for your studies for
Origins.
Yeah,
it's so historically accurate as you're sliding down a pyramid fighting a dragon. Yes.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is there is
I know.
Extra. I know you're just being funny there, but. The discovery mode is amazing. If any of you out there have not tried Assassin's Creed Origins discovery mode or Odysseys, it's fantastic. So but I mean, honestly, I don't care. I mean, as long as the game is good, and it'll be interesting to see how you'll be able to switch between both Yasuke and the Shinobi in this game. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, where you switched, sometimes you played as Jacob, sometimes you played as Evie, running around London. But
please be a better game than Syndicate.
I'm hoping it is, but we shall see. Carl, what are your thoughts on all this?
Watching the trailer, I was like, that was awesome. I love it. I want to play it. Obviously no gameplay, right? But like, we knew that, right? They said this is going to be a story trailer, so that's fine.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
And we know Ubisoft Forward is coming soon, so like that's cool. I don't mind. Like I know I'm going to get gameplay very soon. I got a November 15 release date, which is awesome. That's this year. I mean, Ubisoft, man, they're gonna have an incredible year with Star Wars Outlaws in September, and then this in November. Dude, these guys are gonna own the
Prince of Persia.
if that happens,
Prince of
I don't know
Persia.
if that's gonna.
No,
yeah.
well, I'm just saying they had Prince of Persia early in the year.
Oh,
January.
that one. Yeah, but
Lost-
that didn't sell
Yeah,
well, unfortunately. But it was a good game.
It was a damn good game.
And actually, there was they had like a earnings report or something recently where they said Skull and Bones was actually doing pretty well. So I was like, okay, well,
They're lying.
guess
They're lying.
Ubisoft is doing
Yeah.
But I want to say I'm ashamed of all these people because I'm looking at the dislike ratio and it's 70% dislike ratio. And guys, like get a hold of yourself. Like you were never gonna be able to play as a white male in this character, okay? Because they're Asian. Okay, sorry. Like I'm sorry, guys.
That's
okay.
Actually.
I just
Come on, I'm not gonna get the Tom Cruise skin from him playing The Last Samurai.
Unless they're gonna do the guy in the Animus is like a white guy and he's gonna go into like Yasuke. That would be so offensive. But
well, that's one thing I'm actually
genetically possible.
Maybe, yeah, far enough down the road.
That's one thing I'm actually interested because like the last couple of games, the Animus has become nothing in the plot thing, and like Mirage doesn't have it, Valhalla has it barely, and then gives you that ass pull at the end with the story, and it's like Expat and Fubu and I were talking a couple of days ago when the trailer dropped, and we're like, how much are they going to bring Basm back for a third time? Bring him into this somehow?
It would make sense. I think, in my opinion, it would make sense.
And over on social media too, it's like people are saying that this is disrespectful to Japan for having a black character be the main protagonist. I don't see that. I mean,
There's two characters. Like there's a Japanese woman, okay?
Right? Japanese
Focus
woman.
on that. If you can't accept this other guy, okay?
Exactly.
Well, the other character's a historical figure. If you sit the time and research, Yasuke is historical.
Someone who existed. Yeah, I mean,
someone who existed briefly. Yes.
Yeah.
So
and
whether
first one, like all the other characters that we played in Assassin's Creed, they're all made up. They're not real. From what I realized, Ezio wasn't real. Connor wasn't real. All of them weren't real. They were made up.
The main protagonist, the side characters were like historical figures. Like in what is it, Assassin's Creed 3? You had George Washington was in part of the game as well. Right. So Mm-hmm. So I'm really interested to see how they depict Nobunaga in this game because
you were asking about like who's going to be Templars, right? I mean, maybe they're just not going to do that, right? Because they drop all this stuff now. Like they drop the, Animus stuff. So like, why do we need to even bother with that? Like, we're in a completely different part of the world. Like, does that even make sense anymore? Like, just trying to force that into the story.
It's just going to be very confusing to a lot of mainstream, fans of the series because,
does anybody care about that anymore?
Well, maybe not, but those that do care are going to be like, well, how did the assassins actually come to Japan, and like the shinobi that actually takes up the creed? It's like, how did she learn about it in the first place, and how did the Templars come to Japan? Like, I'm sorry, Fubu, I'm gonna reiterate this, but probably it's gonna come, will have come from the Jesuits into. Through the Portuguese into Japan at some point, and that's how they're going to try to explain it. I don't know.
But she doesn't even have the real hidden blade. Like she's got like the thing that comes out and it's like a knife she grabs, which looks awesome, by the way. I love it, but different.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think like to Carl's points that the Templars are kind of in Valhalla. They're still I think they're their order. They're called. They're used for the first bit of plot in Valhalla and then just dropped.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't think that, and like Mirage, spoiler alert, the Templars are like maybe 15 minutes of the game. And that's about it. They like they're dropped, that they're the order. That's about it. Like that's the thing. You don't get much. I don't see much with them on this, and it's more they're going to go the historic kind of try and create a historical fiction story here.
Yeah, well, because in history, in Japanese history, the Portuguese and the Jesuits, they introduce Yasuke to Nobunaga. So, and he supposedly came through a shipping route from Mozambique, I think it was Fubu. So, I mean, most likely. So, I mean, yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
interesting,
Oh,
and I'm looking forward to gameplay when the Ubisoft Forward comes out. Go ahead, Carl.
yes, I want to speculate on what we're going to see gameplay, right? Because that's the big question: how they're going to handle these two characters. Because it seems like they are going to have two distinct play styles.
Right.
And if you want to play as the more warrior type, you're like Valhalla type game, right? Or even Odyssey, right? Like where you can just kind of just be a brute fighter and just attack everyone and not do stealth. then that's going to be Yasuke, and then the other character is going to be your stealthy character, right? And I'm sure they'll have builds within there. But I can't see how they're going to really cross over and let you do both with either, which then makes me wonder. I kind of doubt they're going to say in the beginning of the game, like, okay, choose one and you're stuck with that. So maybe they'll do the whole, you can swap your character on the fly, or you can swap them like in between missions, which would be really awesome. I would like if you do a mission, you're like, all right, I want to do this stealthy. And then the next mission, you're like, all right, I want to switch and I want to just, wreck shop and just, grab out the big club and just smack everyone around. That like we've seen a lot of open world. We've seen like GTA did that, right? Where you can just on the fly swap characters. Spider-Man 2 did it, right? Where you can swap your characters whenever you want. So
yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, let's do that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just going to give you just two things about this game. Would be different. I think we would make like an Assassin's Creed Civil War. It's assassins. It's the assassin versus the assassins. There's a faction that's way extreme, and they want to use let's say the Apple of Eden to control everything. And then there's a part of the assassins that they don't want to do that. They want to continue the old creed. I think that would be something different. You wouldn't need to involve Templars, but again, not having Templars would also be very, very weird in my opinion. And another way to sidestep this Yasuke debacle that everyone's saying, oh, he's not a samurai, that he was a sword bearer, like Expat was saying. It's very easy. You play with them like a samurai until the end of the game. And at the end of the game, he says, erase me from history. I don't want to be known as a samurai associated with this. I don't know what happens. Just erase me from history. And that would be a genius sidestep from all this debacle. So you had that character, which is a real character, and then explains why he disappears, why he's only known as a sword bearer. I think I would do that if I was on Ubisoft, or at least I would change that now because the reaction isn't the best.
Well, I could probably give you a pretty good reason for why he.
Give me.
I can't because it spoils the story, because I know that's where it's going to go. But
after the show.
Let me just. I'm really intrigued as to what Ubisoft's reasoning was for picking this particular period. The Sengoku period, of course, the Warring States period, which lasted until about 1615, when Tokugawa Ieyasu, of course, completed the unification of the entire country, and the Tokugawa shogunate was, firmly in place. But I'm wondering if Ubisoft decided on this period because, honestly, if I was with Ubisoft and I was choosing to pick a period for this game, I would have picked the Meiji Restoration, because there you have the end of the shogunate, you have the factions that are with the emperor and for industrialization because they had to catch up to the West. So in the late 1800s. And so then you would have had these factions that were, that they could have used as Templars, to try to keep that from coming to fruition. But I'm thinking because maybe Sony was in development with Rise of the Ronin, which is kind of just before the Meiji Restoration. I'm wondering if Ubisoft made a 360 and decided, okay, let's go with the Sengoku period, because in Japan, the Sengoku period is very popular within the video game universe here. There are many, many games that depict Nobunaga and
Right.
that particular period. So they
That's what
wanted
I
to
was
go
thinking.
they were gonna use the safe route. Okay, we're gonna just go with the Sengoku period, the
Yeah,
Warring States period.
It's just the classic, like, historical style, video game set in Japan, right? I mean,
Right.
like in Indo, the game I played when I was a kid on Super Nintendo that I love, like,
Right.
it's Nobunaga. It's that time. He's the main bad guy. You have to kill him in the end.
Right.
It is what it is. He's in Onimusha, I think, right? Also, I'm pretty sure he was in Onimusha. Yeah, I mean, like, he's just classic villain.
Yeah, Onimusha was great. Onimusha was really good.
Yeah,
Where is Shogun in relation to this time period?
Very close. Actually, about Assassin's Creed Shadows will probably be based about 20 years before the Shogun series. Yeah, because I don't want to go any farther. Don't want to go any farther, because if I start giving you dates and everything, I'm going to spoil things that are going to happen in Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Come on. Now we need to do next time we get more Shadows info. We need expats history lesson.
Are you telling me in Shogun Nobunaga's already dead?
Yes.
Look,
man, I gotta go backwards now so I can get someone to play him in season 2 or 3. I want to see him.
Yeah.
Look, I just don't want them to do what they did on Shogun. Like, he's speaking Portuguese and he's speaking in English. No, in this game, you're gonna respect my culture. You're gonna respect my language. You're gonna speak Portuguese, and the old Portuguese, not the Brazilian Portuguese. You speak the Portuguese from Portugal.
Right.
That was a weird choice for the show. I was surprised, but also I was like, but I kind of get it, because it's they want some English in the show, and like, I guess we'll shoehorn it in somehow.
Yeah.
But anyway,
this
game looks great. I'm excited.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, well, the original Shogun series from 1980, I mean, it was all in English. So I mean, so at least they used the traditional, Japanese when it came to the show.
Yeah.
So
you think they're gonna let you play this game in Japanese? Yeah, full on. I mean, like in America, right? I mean, it's not typical to have that as an option.
Well, just think if there's an option like in Ghost of Tsushima where you could play in Kurosawa mode, like in black and white, that would be awesome as well. Yeah. So we shall see. Anyway, the Ubisoft Forward's coming up, so we'll get more information about Assassin's Creed Shadows, and we'll be relaying that all to you. So looking forward to that. So let's go ahead and move on, guys. So the next story from the month of May, of course, Square Enix aggressively pursuing a multi-platform strategy now because of their company reboot. So Fubo, I'm going to start with you on this one. Of course, they had some bad number figures come out, and they decided, well, we're going to have to change our strategy. And now they're going to pursue this multi-platform strategy.
Yeah.
My question to you to start this discussion: will the third phase of Final Fantasy VII now be on Xbox and will be multi-platform? What do you think?
I think it should be, because I don't like to see companies fail. Sometimes, Jesus, probably chill, man.
Why are you gonna gatekeep like that?
I'm gonna choke you, bitch. Shut up. No, but
Square told me to do it. They paid me.
They sponsored you. No, the thing is, look. Also, I know I've once said, like, maybe in private, maybe on one of the podcasts, I don't remember, saying, like, there was a time I wanted Square Enix to fail so they would make a Final Fantasy VII remake. They already done that. It's perfect. The first one, the second one, they're both perfect. Two of my favorite games. I don't like to see companies fail, because I don't like, and I'm hoping in a way that this is a strategy to force Sony to give them more money for the exclusivity of Final Fantasy the third part. I think it's going to be that.
What?
I think it's going to be that. I don't know. Like they might do that because it would be really weird to see Final Fantasy VII, even if it's the original one. It would be very weird to see it on Xbox. I'll give you that. It's like when did you like nowadays thinking about Crash Bandicoot? Sorry, I'm going out, but thinking
Wait,
about
you
Crash
can play
Bandicoot,
the original Final Fantasy VII on Xbox. You know this, right?
You can. You can. No way.
Yes.
Yep.
You can do that. No,
7, 8, 9,
No
10,
idea.
12.
No idea.
12.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So that's weird.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now. That's weird. Anyway, but if they want to make money, let's get serious now. If they want to make money, I think if they release Final Fantasy VII first part, whatever the name it is, I think they might go multi-platform, and if they release the remake and rebirth as a double pack on the other games, so people catch up to the first game, that would be a great way to make money. And if you want to make money, like the three of you, like let's say Expat's going to be Xbox, Carl's going to be Nintendo, and Burley can be PlayStation. If I want the money from all of you guys and I say, no, I'm just going to sell to Burley because he's a PlayStation guy, I'm just going to sell to him. I'm missing money from both of you, you know? I'm missing money from both of you guys. And I won't be rich that way. I'd rather have money from all of you guys than from one of you. And if PlayStation Square Enix going exclusive with PlayStation, they are losing a lot of money. And then they're going with crazy ideas of NFTs last year. This year, they're focusing on AI. That's things to lose money. But let's talk about this news. One of the things, because they're saying that they have 4 pillars on their 3-year reboot plan. And I'm going to focus on the one that I do like the most, but I think it won't happen, which is strike a balance between shareholder return and growth investment when allocating capital. What this means is they're going to give less money to shareholders, and they're going to focus probably more in game content, creating games. Because giving money to shareholders, it's what's killing all types of industry. You have, for example, going away from games, but you have Boeing, which used to be one of the biggest air companies to create airplanes. And because they're giving all the money to their shareholders, it's creating their planes are full of problems, doors opening, wheels not going down, whatever, so many problems. And I do like this. I don't know how realistic this will be because shareholders want money. They don't care if the game is good or bad. As long as I make money, I'm happy. So yeah, I'm focusing on this pillar. I think if they focus on this pillar the most, everything will go well because money will be able to flow to games to come up with best content possible. It won't pressure the developers and the people making the game. I think this has a lot of things to grow. But to conclude, basically the question, I think it's a good idea for Square Enix to go multi-platform because they'll make the money and they will be able to survive and to create more games. Because I'd rather have more games than only those games for me and nothing new. I want new games and better games from this company that's been around for many, many years and has created some of my favorite games.
Fubu, just let's get serious here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a perfect game. End of discussion. Carl, your thoughts.
20 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, of course, as being the Xbox guy, I'm very happy to hear this. There are big games that are missing the platform. But the fact that they are not doing well, right, is a problem because I don't want Square Enix to go away. Of course, like they do make games that I like. They have franchises that I like. So they continue down that path. Things could get pretty dire. But what we're seeing is what the industry is seeing everywhere. And you see this with Microsoft's strategy, and where we don't know where that's going to go 100%. But of course, the rumors are all pointing towards more, third-party development, right, being almost everywhere. And probably, I don't know if they're going to launch things on PlayStation day one, but that could be the thing one day, right? And at one point, you're going to think also, like, why shouldn't PlayStation do that? I mean, they should at the very least be launching day one on PC.
Yeah.
Nintendo, I get it. Like Nintendo doesn't need to do any of that stuff. But that's not to say they wouldn't make a killing if they put their games on PC, right? or anywhere, right? It's just the economics of the situation. These games are costing so much, especially AAA, right? It's like, you really can't have Final Fantasy 16 and that costs, I don't know. I'm just going to throw out like, $250 million, right, to make, and only sell it on PlayStation and nowhere else, and then sell like 3.5 million copies. Like, it's just not good. It doesn't work, right? And then you gotta also add the factor of like marketing, right? You're gonna do a big marketing campaign. Oh, you spent all that money on marketing to only market it for one platform, like, and then when you release it, like, it's however many months later on PC, there'll be no marketing for that version because you already spent your marketing money. It's like you could have, that marketing could have gone towards pushing it towards players on every platform. It's like, again, it's just, you're wasting money, right? It's not a good strategy, especially for a company like Square Enix, who has historically been on every platform, and in various degrees. Like, we know, like, they were on Nintendo sort of first, right? And then they went to PlayStation, and then they sort of went multi-platform, and then they still sort of aligned with PlayStation. But people see Square Enix everywhere, and it doesn't make sense for a company like that to be only on PlayStation right now. So it's the right move, and I think we're going to see more of this in the industry from your first party people. I mean, people are calling for Helldivers 2 on Xbox, and like, is that a bad idea? I wouldn't say it is. Like,
No,
it's
a
a
lot of
great
money on the
idea.
table.
The automatons are killing us. We need more people.
There you go.
Yeah. Burley, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm glad to see them embracing and going, hey, we're going to go on more platforms. As for Final Fantasy Remake Part 3, that's day one PlayStation. Sony signed an agreement to get them for all three parts. I'm calling it here. Like, you may see Rebirth and Remake eventually come to Xbox after the third part's out, or just before the third part. The third part is launching on PlayStation and launching on Epic 6 months to a year after. That I see. Like, Square has done, they did this to themselves. They did a lot of stupid decisions. Like, with not just with what games, locking games on platforms, but they were doing really stupid things. Like, oh, when we're making games for PC, we're not going to put it to Steam. We're going to put it to Epic. And it's like, if you're going to
taking that bag from everyone, and then it hurts them in the end.
Yeah, it's like now the Kingdom Hearts series just came to Steam, is coming to Steam now, and so they're seeing that, and it's like, you only had, like, when Kingdom Hearts 3 came, it came on Epic. It's like, out of all the PC platforms you want to go, don't get me wrong, I like certain things Epic does, because Epic does do some greater things, taking less fees, especially on indies, so indies and smaller devs can get more of their profits. But it's like, if you're going to put it on one, you're putting it on Steam over Epic, in my opinion, because that's where you're going to get your most sales.
You should,
this. Like, preferably, I would like to say, hey, Steam, Epic, Microsoft Store, put it on in GOG if you want, for all I care. Put it in more places so more people can get the sales. Would be great.
Yeah.
But they did a lot of stupid.
I was going to say, yeah. Sorry, go, bro. You.
Well, one of their things they did with Octopath Traveler 2, they had the first game on Xbox. Don't put the sequel on there. You put the sequel on PlayStation. You never put the first game. So it's
it doesn't make
it's just
sense.
like it's just like like, honestly, I'm honestly, some of these decisions, they just, like, they have a dartboard, spin someone around, throw a dart, and be like, oh, that's what we're doing with Octopath. This doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense, but this is what we're gonna do. And then all the NFTs and all this stuff, and just some of these games that they were just, like, toting and doing this stuff, and it was like, how did you think this was a good idea? And then, like, they had a lot of smaller games that they just unfortunately killed, which I'm sad to hear. And like we still haven't heard anything with the Dragon Quest 3 HD. Like they have a ton of games that like they have a great catalog of stuff. They're not even touching. Like if they did what they did for the Pixel remasters, but for the Dragon Quest, the first 6 Dragon Quest games in Japan, that would just like give them, I don't know, 44 billion yen or whatever number, and so it would help
That's
worldwide.
$5, man. That's $5.
Burley, you reminded me of something else. Triangle Strategy, not on PlayStation.
Oh,
I mean,
dude,
not on Xbox either. But like,
Mm-hmm.
why isn't it on PlayStation yet?
That's
Yeah,
a great game, man.
It is a great.
Oh, it
game.
is.
They
It's
put
a
it
great
on
game.
on PC later, but just that was it. And it was
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah,
we're done.
There's something that you're also forgetting to talk about. I know it's been a few years, but they used to own the Tomb Raider IP. Tomb Raider IP is so good, and they sold it. They didn't do anything. Like they did 2 great games, and the third one was kind of okay. And then
no,
they
the
didn't
third
do
one was
anything.
great.
Were great. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I remember having a lot of fun with the first and the second one. And then so many years they didn't do anything with Tomb Raider, and then they sold it off because of the NFT debacle. And they could have done so many good things with Tomb Raider, and it was a way of them having a market on the West, because a lot of things they do is for JRPGs. It's more Japan stuff, but they had that studio for the West market, and then they could introduce other stuff, maybe a little bit more Japanese through that market, and that was something really stupid. They didn't take advantage of everything they could have done with Tomb Raider, in my opinion.
I agree. But one of the things that showed with Tomb Raider is something that they've shown with certain their other games here. They're stupid sales numbers. They're like, oh, Tomb Raider, it sold 1 million on the first day. We're not too thrilled about that. We're hoping for 14 million in the first week. It's like they're ridiculous sales numbers. It's like, okay, you guys need to go down, and then like with Rebirth here, they're like, well, we're hoping Rebirth be higher, and it's like PS5 only. The PS5, don't get me wrong, has sold over 50 million units. Not every one of those people are going to be wanting to get it day one or get it at all. You have less than half the install base you did with the PS4 when Remake came out. It's like you have to kind of get these things in line. Like if you need your games to sell 10 million copies to make a profit, you need to start cutting some stuff down. Maybe make some AA level games where you may not sell, you may not make as much up front because it's not the higher price tag, but your cost squeaks down, so you can make into your profit much quicker, potentially.
Well, here's one point too that they're failing to understand is when you have a game that's timed exclusive, then you're setting yourself up to not make money from the other platforms, and that's why the sales numbers are so low. So the thing about the timed exclusivity is a factor as well. So yeah, I mean,
yeah, people put a lower value on older games, right? So
yeah,
it's like, oh, I got to buy it a year later. Well, I shouldn't have to pay full price, and then they don't want to buy it.
Right. It's just, I mean, I think Square's coming to the realization, and I think Sony is going to do this as well. And Microsoft, you're seeing it with them now too, that if you want to make the maximum amount of profit possible, you got to put it on every platform. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
One last thing, because I didn't think of or say anything about the Final Fantasy Remake Part 3, whatever that's going to be called. Will that be on anything else? And I think, that's going to only depend on contract, right? Because the language aggressively pursue a multi-platform strategy, and specifically, we're talking about AAA games, right? Is the thing that they're worried about the most. If in the contract if they are allowed to put it other places, I think they will, absolutely, because it's such a huge boon to do that. Because if you can then before that launch drop Part 1 and 2 on other platforms, Xbox, and something we didn't say either, Switch 2, right? If you can make that run on Switch 2, I mean, that's huge, especially in Japan, because in Japan, PlayStation is nothing compared to Switch. I mean, it's not even close as
Right.
far as the install base. Like console is kind of nothing in Japan outside of mobile and Switch.
That's right.
You know, a portable device.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, I mean, and they're probably looking at, you know, I'm sure someone in a boardroom is like, Final Fantasy Rebirth cost us, you know, however many multi-million dollars, and we only sold like 2 or so million at launch. And Sega's over there with Persona 3 Reload, which probably cost them very little in comparison, who sells 1 million at launch. I'm like, they're like, what the hell are we doing? Like, doesn't make any sense. And that game was everywhere at launch.
Yeah. And just a story that
not
came
Switch,
up.
But sorry.
Yeah.
Should be, but Switch 2.
A story that just came out this week on the Microsoft side of things when it comes to the next Doom. You know, everybody was talking about, well, you know, Doom, it's going to be exclusive to Xbox. No, it's not.
Probably not. Yeah.
Probably not. It's going to go to every platform because they want to maximize profit, you know, on that game. So, yeah.
I mean,
Elder Scrolls 6 is another story, though. But,
that'll probably, at this point, I don't know if it'll be exclusive anymore. I think we'll talk about maybe the Microsoft stuff later.
Yeah,
but
we're going to be talking about that. Yes.
The idea, like Doom, something like that. Even Starfield, when you look back at it, like, what's the narrative around Starfield if it's multi-platform? You know, is it different? Because there's a lot of animosity towards Xbox, and that gets taken out on their games, unfortunately, rightly or wrongly. And if it was on PlayStation, I just think that the reception would be different. Not that it changes the flaws of the game, but I think the reception would have been probably a little less animosity.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into Microsoft now. So, boy, oh boy.
Segue.
Yes. Microsoft closes Arcane Austin, Alpha Dog Games, and Tango Gameworks. Now, yeah. Let me start from the Japanese side of things because I remember shout out to our buddy Lord Cognito over at the Iron Lords podcast and Defining Duke over on Last Stand Media. He was on our show a few months back talking about with us how Japan is making strides and, you know, Sarah and Phil having boots on the ground and, you know, trying to court the development studios and trying to make better relations. Well, boots on the ground basically became boots on the jugular when it came to the side of trying to, you know, make better relations with Japanese studios. Because in Japan, you don't see many studios just get closed up like this, especially with the studio that just had a game that won a bunch of awards for you. Tango Gameworks, of course, Mikami Shinji-san, of course, you know, created, I think it was back in 2010, you know, had Psycho Break 2, which is the Evil Within 2 in the West. And then, of course, with Hi-Fi Rush, which won a ton of awards, and then all of a sudden, boom, closed. And Burley and I were just talking the other day, and we're going to be talking about Hellblade 2 here in a few minutes. Who knows what they're going to do with Ninja Theory? Could they be next on the chopping block?
Oh, let's not say that.
Let's hopefully not.
We will see.
Hopefully not. So, I mean, we were talking, I think, Burley, you agree with me, and we were talking about this, that no studio at the moment, it seems, you know, is safe.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's with Microsoft or PlayStation
across the industry, right?
Across the industry, yeah. So, I mean, the biggest shock to me was the Tango closure. Obviously, I mean, me being out here in Japan and like Genki Gamer on Twitter and X and everything, it was just like, you know, shaking my head, man. Just I don't understand it. You know, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt Xbox out here now for sure. Moving forward, I would be surprised if Phil and Sarah are out here for Tokyo Game Show now this year. We shall see.
I wouldn't go if I was them.
Yeah.
No, I
So
wouldn't as well,
anyway,
but
I will throw it to you guys and try to get your reasoning for these closures. I mean, Arcane Austin was responsible, Carl, I think, for Redfall, right? Yeah. So
That's a Redfall team, yeah.
yeah. So
Not much of a loss there, right?
yeah. So yeah. That's why I said that the Tango was the one that I just was scratching my head. It's like, what the hell?
It's hard to make sense of, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas
Look.
Arcane Austin, with the situation with the launch of Redfall and everything, that was a bit different. But anyway, I'll throw it to you guys.
let me go
Carl,
first. because
okay,
Fubu,
go ahead,
go ahead.
Fubu. Let Fubu go
I-
first. And
I'm going to go first because it's Xbox and I don't have a lot to say about it. Carl's going to take all the time this time because he loves talking about
Big
Xbox.
thing to talk about.
But
Go ahead.
look, I just have two things to say about this. If there's closing studios, and from I remember what I saw in the news, that they're not like firing people. They're putting people in other studios, so they're allocating.
No,
funds
that
and
was only
resources.
one studio. That was
One
one
studio.
studio.
One studio.
some employees are
Okay.
being
Some employees,
transferred,
exactly.
but yeah.
But they're allocating resources to some spots. But the Tango Gameworks, I was really amazed because, like, we had a conversation here a few weeks ago that they were doing their efforts on Japan. Like, it's boots off Japan now. It's not boots on the jugular or whatever. It's boots off Japan because they're leaving Japan behind.
You mean
So
boots?
I think,
Okay, boots on Japan. Okay, yeah.
yeah, but now it's boots off because they're going away. And I think that that is not very good if they want to focus on a new market, like, or try to force their way into a market. Or maybe there's just like, okay, we're going to waste too much money forcing our way into Japan. Let's just leave them with Nintendo and Sony and whatever, and we'll focus on the rest of the world. So
Before
I think
you go
it's a
on-
bad trick. Yeah.
Before you go on, Fubu, I just want to throw this in. This is just my speculation, so there's no truth to this that we know of. But Mikami Shinji-san, he left Tango about 5
Yes.
months ago.
Okay.
I'm wondering if he had heard some rumblings from Microsoft executives through the grapevine about things that might be happening, and that's why he left Tango.
Maybe.
So
Maybe.
obviously he's gonna open up his own development studio and all, but and
And
hopefully
He
some
already
of the
has,
Tango,
actually. There was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
story,
yeah,
it was
and-
named, but it wasn't like nobody said anything else about it.
right. So and hopefully some of the Tango staff will go and join him over there. But I'm just wondering if through the grapevine he had heard some things, and it's like, okay, it's time to bail. It's time to get out of
Yeah, 'cause-
Tango.
Yeah,
now.
I wouldn't say
I quit
that
on
that's
my
the
way
thing.
and I'm not fired. Yeah.
I would. This seemed like a more recent decision.
Yeah,
Sure.
like I said, I mean, it's just my own speculation. So yeah, I don't know anything for sure on that. So
But I got nothing else to add. So, Carl, go for it. Go. Rant all you want. Go.
Okay. Well, okay. I want to read something that the email from Matt Booty. Just one thing that I think kind of tells you what they're doing.
Yeah.
Where he says to double down these franchises and invest to build new ones requires us to look across the business to identify the opportunities that are best positioned for success. This reprioritization of titles and resources means a few teams will be realigned to others and that some of our colleagues will be leaving us. I think it's pretty clear that this is about finding budget, right? And I think specifically within Bethesda, because that's why I don't think any of the other teams from like Xbox Game Studios are at risk. I mean, at the moment, right? Because these entities operate separately, right? Even though they're all over Microsoft, they are still like Bethesda is its own group, Activision is its own group, and Xbox Game Studios is its own group. And I assume that they have like their own budgets, right? Like they're all looking at like this much money for these teams, this much money for these teams, this team. We just bought ABK, we spent all this money, and look, Fallout comes out of nowhere. This TV show being a massive success.
yeah,
There's seemingly no Fallout game on the horizon. And they're like, Bethesda's like, well, we gotta do that quicker, right? We gotta figure out how to do that. And Microsoft, Big Daddy Microsoft's like, all right, that's your problem. Like, we're not gonna give you more money. We already spent tons of money, and you guys are having problems with other things like Redfall, for example, or even Tango. Like, is Tango bringing in money? Right? We don't know. Right? There's the quote from Aaron Greenberg saying that Hi-Fi Rush like met or exceeded all of their metrics, right? But was that enough? Like, we don't know. Like, if we take that at face value and say he's not lying, right? Because I know there are people like, oh, he's just a liar. It's all nonsense. Like, I don't know. He could be, but that seems weird for like a sort of executive in the company to be lying about, success of a product. That seems like something you wouldn't really be doing. It seems bad. So you got to look at it and say, all right, maybe that's the whole idea isn't enough, right? Even if it was successful, because you're looking at this team doesn't have a project greenlit, apparently, from what everything people are saying. Like, they were still in the process of trying to greenlight Hi-Fi Rush 2, which is like, what? Yeah. Like, okay. So like, what else were you trying to work on? I guess maybe you were trying something else that they didn't greenlight. Maybe, I don't know.
Or maybe Mikami had talked about the Evil Within 3, and then Microsoft was like, no, let's try something different, or I don't know. So.
Which I would agree with, because I don't think the Evil Within was a very successful franchise. I think it was okay. I think it was overall greatly received. It's not like Resident Evil, right, where people are like, oh, I love this franchise. It's always making money,
That's the standard, the Resident Evil franchise,
and then it's about, I mean, I'm focusing more on Tango right now because that's the one that everybody cares about, right? And then it's about talent, right? Mikami's gone. Even the woman behind with Ghostwire Tokyo, like, she left a long time ago.
Yeah.
So you don't even have
Nakamura Ikumi-san,
you don't even have the person who was behind Ghostwire Tokyo, like she was one of the main people behind that game.
Well,
right?
she's opened her own studio now too. So.
Yeah. So like, there was an idea that Ghostwire Tokyo 2 was going to be a thing, but maybe without her, they're like, well, I don't know, like, what? Maybe it's not something they were going to do.
Is the name of the studio.
Yeah. So, and then you got the logistical problem of like, this is the only studio they have in Japan, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably another concern and a reason for why Tango was chosen here, because I'm sure operating that studio and working with that studio is more difficult than any other team within the company. You have a big time zone difference, right? You have a language barrier. And if you want that studio, we see this a lot now with big publishers, where they have each teams or other studios that they own working together, collaborating, or helping out on other projects, at various stages of the development, when maybe you don't need everyone, right? You don't need all your artists and designers right away on this after you've already done all that, main work, right? Or you don't need all your, certain programmers until later in the process, right?
Yeah.
And you can't really do that with Tango. It would be very hard to have them help out on another one of these studios. So I think all of these factors are things you can look at, and maybe one day we'll find, like, we'll hear the bigger story, right? We'll hear more information about why. It sucks, but they do still own the Hi-Fi Rush franchise, the IP. I mean, if there's anything that they could continue at some point somewhere else, that would make sense. You don't lose that forever.
And it's now on PlayStation as well.
Which apparently it didn't do too well there, which is possibly another reason why they're like, what the hell? Like, this game can't even sell there.
Well,
like, what are we
if
doing?
it would have launched on PlayStation, it probably would have did better.
It would have been a different story.
Yeah. Different.
Well,
story.
one of the things with sales on that game, Microsoft shot themselves right in the foot with that game when it came out. If they cared about sales, you just drop it randomly on a day.
Well, yeah,
I know,
like
Game Pass.
You're talking about the shadow drop idea.
Yeah, for Hi-Fi Rush, that was just so like, it was great for Game Pass, but it's like that was just it sucked out of marketing because they didn't market the game much after that Shadow dropped on Game Pass.
Yeah.
I just saw trailers of it of here's on Game Pass, shows a bit of that, shows a bit of Halo and 5 other Game Pass games. It's like
And marketing a game is really, really expensive. So, or a movie or a series, whatever. Marketing is really, really expensive the way you do it. So, by doing just the shadow drop, they saved a lot of money on marketing. So that's another reason why they should. But like Hi-Fi Rush, they should have done the sequel. They should have greenlighted the sequel because I'm pretty sure that game made more money than usual. Again, because there was no marketing budget. Sometimes the marketing budget is the same amount as the game or movie or whatever, or sometimes it's even higher because it's really really important. You can't rely on word of mouth just to sell a game, like something that we're going to talk later in this podcast. So it's really weird that they're doing that. They should have kept the Tango Gameworks open to make the game. It's a sequel. I think they should have done that because I'm pretty sure Wi-Fi Rush, even that was the exclusive, not going for PlayStation in this case, they made a lot of money, and then now releasing because it's going in multi-platform, it's making money now, and they should have made the second game. It doesn't make sense closing the studio that way. So,
but as far as the marketing, I think for video games though, you don't have to market because we've seen countless examples of games that can just blow up without any marketing. I mean, Pal World, Helldivers 2, Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, these games don't have marketing campaigns, but they're massively successful. I mean, and that's the problem when you have that type of an industry and you spend a ton on marketing, and then you look at the other guy like, what the hell? Like, I spent all this money and I sold less, and they spent nothing. Like, so it's hindsight, to say Hi-Fi Rush shouldn't have been a shadow drop, but maybe it would have worked. Who knows? Like, it just at this point, maybe that was just a play, and they thought, all right, maybe this is a cool idea. And I think at the time, I don't think anybody was like, this sucks, why would you do that? I think most people were like, wow, that was an incredible announcement. You just dropped a game like that looks amazing, and I can play it right now, and it's in Game Pass, and I can jump in, and everybody's talking about it right away. Like,
totally agree because I'm going to give you this example. When they shadow dropped the DLC for Final Fantasy 16, I went and bought it immediately. They dropped the second one a few weeks ago. I haven't played it yet because feeling of it. I do understand. I totally agree, but I think it's really important to do a marketing campaign. Like you said, there's some games, Baldur's Gate, Pal World, but that's one in hundreds, if not thousands of games. It's not normal. We were just lucky to have like 2 years in a row having games that did that. It was Baldur's Gate last year, that one game of the year, and Pal World this year. Then, of course, there's probably other games. Of course, there's other games that I can't remember at this moment. But usually, I think a marketing campaign is something really healthy to help the sales of a game.
Remember that game that they showed off for the first time at Tokyo Game Show last year? Was Hotel Barcelona?
Oh yeah.
I'm wondering if that game is gonna be promoted in any way, or if it's not. Is it going to be like a Hi-Fi Rush type of situation? It'll be interesting.
It'll be a Hi-Fi Rush. But my whole thing on Microsoft on this, Arcane, I wasn't surprised. Let's just be honest. Redfall was a disaster, and like that studio they helped out on Prey and stuff like that. They didn't really do the main development on any other game. It sucks to see. Like I don't like people.
The talent behind Prey isn't there anymore. So
yeah. So it's like it sucks to see people lose their jobs. Don't get me wrong. I hate seeing that, but hopefully they find something soon. Yeah, like Alpha Dog and them, like one of them being turned into Elder Scrolls Online support studio. So at least they've most of them are keeping their jobs and.
That's Roundhouse.
Roundhouse. Alpha Dog, the mobile one, and Microsoft's we're all going in this mobile market. Yeah, you may have King. You may want another mobile studio if you're really going to put effort into mobile. But that's their internal metrics or whatever. Tango, it sucks just because the Japan thing, and they just had some of the stuff they've said, saying like last year met all our metrics, and last year in August saying we're reinvesting into Tango, and there are rumors that Tango was not only pitching, and they were really trying to get it. They were going to need to staff up and hire up just to keep some games in production and really going.
Yeah.
But there's also a memo, like an internal memo, that apparently Bethesda was like, yeah, we can't manage all these studios. And it's like, okay, you're managed by Microsoft, owns you, over $3.5 trillion company. Can't invest a little more into that. But I know this is more coming from Satya, and him being like, okay, you guys spent $70 billion on getting Activision Blizzard and Fallout. We have nothing for Fallout. Like the Fallout show took off well, and it's like, what? Like they didn't have, like, even if they would have said like, hey, Fallout 3 remaster. Or Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas.
Like, until they announce it, it doesn't exist, right?
Exactly.
Like and I just want to say, we haven't touched upon this yet. I think Phil Spencer should have come out and discussed this instead of throwing Sarah Bond, out there to do that.
Well, that interview wasn't about this. That was something she was already doing for that event. So
she was already booked weeks or months in advance. That one I don't blame her. She was booked, and what else is she gonna say? It's a politician doublespeak. But Matt Booty ain't looking too good after, if you saw the stuff with the Double Fine and the Psychonauts 2.
I saw that. I didn't mind. People are like, why is he being so hard about the moonlighting idea? I'm like, you understand moonlighting is frowned upon by most companies, right? Like, especially in a creative industry. I don't know why you would be surprised by that, but whatever.
It's just in this age that we live in with social media and everything else. I mean, giving the political type of answer and kind of sidestepping and stuff like that, it's going to be thrown all over. And the Xbox has been trying to show, like with Phil and Sarah, that they're gamers, number one, and they're for all the players and everything. But now, it's starting to be seen that
Phil's an executive too.
They're executives, and they work for a big corporation, and I'm sure a lot of this probably wasn't their decision, probably came from Satya and the others. So
see, I don't know that I buy that either. I see a lot of people are like, oh, Satya's in control. I'm like, well, what do you think Phil does? Like, you don't think he has any part? He's the CEO of like Microsoft Gaming or some shit. Like, oh, we think he's just like, no, I can't do it. I can't be a part of this decision.
Though. Satya tells him,
I don't think Satya's out there micromanaging these people. Like he doesn't, you hire Phil to do this job. Like, I don't think he's out there. He might be saying, look, I'm not giving you any more money, right? We bought this company, and we need to do this, X, Y, and Z. It needs to produce. We need to, we did all these layoffs already, right? And I'm not telling you to get rid of these other people, but I'm telling you, I'm not giving you any more money, and you make of that what you will.
Well, I'm sure Phil is fighting back, and I'm sure Satya is, I'm sure, putting pressure and telling him, no more money.
Would he be wrong to say that either? Like,
no. I'm not saying he's wrong to say it. I would hope Phil push back and be like, I understand this. Blah 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 blah. This is going to take time. We're not going to repay $70 billion in 6 months or a year. This is going to take years, if not a decade, depending on how things go in the market. But just some of the stuff that, like, Microsoft with all this is like the day after this happened, they had the controller with the slogan come out, "Feel the burn."
That's
that's just stupid. Like if I was Phil, I would have been like to the marketing team, you had to release this now. You had to release this now. And then the whole thing of them coming out and saying, yeah, we need smaller games like this, like Hi-Fi Rush and all this, and Tango Studio tweeting at him the character doing the disappointed face from
Well, now
Hi-Fi Rush.
when they said the small games, like they didn't specifically name Hi-Fi Rush,
Yeah,
and I don't think we know how expensive Hi-Fi Rush was, right? I mean,
That's
it
true.
is a very high quality game. It is it's performing
Very high
incredibly well.
quality.
It looks incredibly good. It plays very well. Like it's a high quality product. I don't know it would be considered AA, or at least it's that maybe it's mid tier. We don't know, right? We don't know.
I would say AA, but it's like the highest of AA.
Right.
Because like you said, the quality is great.
It's a game.
One thing I would just have a
game.
lot of respect for
Really good game.
Microsoft right now, if they just would have come out and said, you know what, things have changed after buying Activision Blizzard. Things have changed. We had some stuff last year that did not go the way we wanted it to, because let's be honest, they were hoping with Starfield to move the needle in Game Pass subscriptions. It moved it a little, but not that giant push that they wanted. Or did Starfield have the sales numbers they wanted? No. So like I would respect them if they said, you know what, things have changed with stuff that happened last year. We had to reevaluate. This was not an easy decision. We don't want to make these. We don't like making these kind of decisions, but it's what we have to do. And they said after they close these 4 studios, they may not be the only ones. The one that still bothers me is, how the hell is 343 still around? Like, they have shit the bed with Hit Infinite.
Yeah.
They didn't do well with 5. They did okay with 4. You're giving them, but you're not going to keep Tango. Like,
well, I mean, that's their
the only reason
that's their franchise, right? Halo, you can't just be like, go away, Halo, and Halo 5
I'd rather say Halo go to Coalition at this point, because Coalition can at least, when they give you the
they're
game,
doing their own thing, right? Like,
I agree, but
they made big cuts. Coalition, they made cuts at 343, right? Significant cuts.
Well,
but Halo 5 wasn't necessarily. I think Halo 5, which wasn't like super well received, but it was a successful game. And Halo Infinite, review wise, actually did well, right? There was really nothing bad about Halo Infinite other than the service side, right? They weren't really prepared for the service. And today it's still around and people seem to like it now as a service. I don't know what their player base is. We don't know that number, but
the player base on PC has not been doing because
PC has never been a big Halo place, right?
Yeah.
So we don't know. It's obviously not amazing, but if they're still doing it, I think they probably at a point where it's making money.
I think they're just keeping them because it's like we said Halo Infinite is going to be this live service game for years, so we have to keep it up, because they did lie with Halo Infinite. A bunch of this stuff isn't coming. They said, yeah, no, we're not developing it. We just said we're not doing that, and it's stuff on the back of the box. If you were to go buy Halo Infinite, the box on the Xbox console version of it, you might as well take some white out and go, here, that's not coming, here, here. Yeah, like
I don't love Halo that much, so like I don't really care if 343 was gone, but it would just look really bad for them to do that.
Well, my thing, like I get it. I necessarily don't want people to lose their jobs, but it's like, you're going to keep 343 that did all this crap, all this, but you're not going to stand behind studios that won you awards and did this and that. Like that still boggles the mind. And I think, like, if I was Double Fine right now, I'd be trying to buy my way out, because Double Fine, their games are great, but they're never hits. They're never, sales hits. Review hits, great games. But do you think if, like, Psychonauts 2, I don't think sold as well as they wanted it to, especially for how long that was in development. Their next game, if it's not a hit,
game before Microsoft even bought it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, Burley mentioned Game Pass and all. let's make the transition to that and talk about Call of Duty, because it seems like after the Xbox showcase coming up in June, in a couple of weeks, right after that showcase, they're having a Call of Duty event for Black Ops 6, I think it is. So
Yes.
the question I'll throw at you guys now: will Call of Duty 2024 Black Ops 6 come to Game Pass day one? What is the strategy for Game Pass moving forward? So obviously there's discussion of price hikes for Game Pass. And a lot of people are speculating that those price hikes are because Call of Duty is going to be coming day one. So what are your thoughts? Fubu, you've been silent for the last few minutes. I will let you start with this one.
Look, I wanted to go first before because I knew this was going to happen. Like Carl just then barely goes behind them. Like, I'm not going to go and then put myself in front of a rolling ball. I don't want to get crushed. I don't know what I'm saying. About this, I know what I'm saying. As always, I do take some notes before I say anything. But I did say yes.
Did you take notes before you said that Final Fantasy VII was a perfect game?
Yes, the OG Final Fantasy.
It's not a perfect game. There is no perfect game. End of discussion.
Tango Mischief.
It's Fubu's personal perfect game.
Personal. But when you just say perfect game, it's like there is no perfect game. It's Fubu's personal perfect game. Okay, go ahead.
Wait, no.
I'm going to blame Square Enix about
that.
I blame Square Enix. Because if they gave me the game like 2 weeks before, I would have done a perfect review about it, and I would have seen everything good and bad.
Okay,
I'm not going to talk about that, but yeah. Anyway, but when I took my notes, I said yes, it should have gone to Game Pass day one. Then I did some research, and do you know where the supposed story of the game, when the timeline? Do you know when it's going to be? Do you guys know? 9/11. Okay.
Yeah. No, there's a rumor that one of the levels is going to be 9/11, like for the
so it's going to be
Russian level from Modern Warfare 2, and it's like no way, because that's not only shooting yourself in the foot and head. That's literally just to piss off the.
Plot twist: you're gonna fail that mission because they're gonna take the planes off. So you're gonna fail that mission. So
it's gonna be alternate history. You're gonna succeed.
But look. Now let's get serious. Now I wanted to go that petty joke, but I think the game is going to be released on day one because there's a reason why Microsoft spent so much money acquiring all of this franchise, because they want to beat Sony and PlayStation when it comes to at least having the best service. I already think they already have a better service. I think Game Pass kicks PlayStation Pluses every day, every month, every day, every week. It kicks their asses. So, but I think if they buy, because where do they make the money? They don't make the money on the physical copy or the digital sale. They don't do the money there. They make the money by selling battle passes. I'm going to give you an example. We had this conversation a few months ago. Final Fantasy Ever Crisis. Like, I stopped playing that game, but every month for the last 7 months, I spent 15 euros buying the battle pass. Just to do calculations. I don't know how that is. But I paid more than 2 games. Trust me, I'm pretty sure I paid like more or almost 2 games. And they do make the money with the battle pass. They do make the money with skins and whatever else, because I don't play those games. I used to play those games, but that's how they make the money. It's not about selling copies. Selling copies at this moment, it's an extra. So, and not everyone buys. So if they put it on Game Pass, it's a free game because you're paying Game Pass, right? You're paying Game Pass, so it's a free game in a sense. And it goes to most of the players, even maybe those that wouldn't spend the money on the game. And they start playing with friends. And they're like, well, since the game's free, let me buy the Battle Pass. Maybe they get addicted. And then they buy, like, until the next year, they probably, I don't know if it's 1 month or 2 months, but let's say it's 1 month. If every month they buy a new Game Pass, by the end of this game cycle, you would have spent money enough to buy 2 or 3 codes, depending how much you paid for the Game Pass. So I think, yes, it should be a day one Game Pass moving forward. That's my answer.
I think it's going to come to Game Pass day one. I agree that, Microsoft wouldn't spend these billions of dollars to acquire Activision Blizzard to not have it on Game Pass. And I think that's going to be one of the reasons they justify their decision of hiking the price of Game Pass Ultimate, probably by $1 or $2 a month. So we shall see, and I'm sure we're going to hear about that in a couple of weeks. Carl, Burley, what are your thoughts?
You have to do it, right? Yeah. Even if there was some debate on like, should we do this? I mean, it's like, but yeah, like you got to try it. You got to see what happens. There's the whole purpose of, not the whole purpose, but a big idea of like getting this studio is like, what will Call of Duty do for Game Pass? If you don't put it in there day one, you'll never know, right? So you have to do that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Burley's 100% right. Like, it's about add-ons, right? Microtransactions, early accesses, ultimate editions, whatever, right? I mean, they did that for Starfield, and it was a massive success, right? It was on Game Pass, but people who had Game Pass could buy whatever it was, $30 extra, I forgot what it was, to get the DLC plus early access.
Day one edition, I think it was.
Yeah. It's like they're
9/11 edition.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fuck no. If they do this as 9/11, this is going to be the worst selling Call of Duty because
will it?
Americans
will it?
No, because they want to relive that story and try to change. As long as they don't see watch the price drop like the Twin Towers, I think it's going to be good. Just don't do that ads.
So they can actually change and make the acting president of that time actually be good. And Cheney be good.
Yeah. So I think, I don't like the price increase thing. Like, I don't think that's going to happen yet because I think you rub people very wrong. You're going to really upset your existing base because your existing base isn't there for Call of Duty, right? Maybe some of them are, right? There's going to be some crossover, but like that's not necessarily the same person, right? So if you do that, you're just like you're saying like, well, we bought this thing and now we're putting this big game on there, and everybody has to pay more money regardless if you give a crap about Call of Duty, and that will look bad. Because there will be no one out there who's going to be like, oh, it's just cost of living increases. Oh, it's just a price increase like inflation. Like, no, everybody's going to be like, it's because of Call of Duty. And I don't think you can really make a good argument. That's going to make people happy about that. That's just wrong. And it wasn't that long ago they raised the price. And it's not like they raise the price often on Game Pass. Like, I think they'll let it ride and they'll see how things go. And then, next year they'll raise it, like, because as these companies are always raising prices, like they can do it at any time. It's not like it's going to really be a big deal for them, and they're going to make a lot of money like doing this. Call of Duty is the number one selling game every year, and sure, there'll be less copies sold for some people on Game Pass, right? Yeah, but they can still buy all the extra crap, and there's also the fact that there are people buying the game at a discounted price, right? Not all the sales for this game is day one. A lot of people are buying Call of Duty later at potentially half the price. Yeah. So like then you have to look at that equation and say like, well, does it matter if those people get it on Game Pass? Because potentially then they can spend more money on the game from day one instead of waiting, 6 months down the line, however they might buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, some people tend to jump in after season 1 is completed, season 2, season 3 or whatever, then they jump in. But yeah, I don't know, we shall see. But it'll be exciting to see the events and to see what they talk about. So Call of Duty.
It's definitely I think it is going Game Pass because you got to try and see. But this is still going to be interesting because Sony still has the marketing rights. I think for this one and the next Call of Duty, I think it is.
I don't believe that's true.
I think only maybe this year.
Yeah. This year, okay.
There was some speculation as to maybe the contract might have said they couldn't put it on Game Pass this year, but I think that's probably not going to be true either. We'll see.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think it'll do on Game Pass, but I'm curious to see what they'll do. Like, I think a price increase is coming. If they're smart, they'll wait a couple months because they are not right now. They are not. The public eye does not like Microsoft right now and Xbox. They're not looking too good right now with everything that we talked about earlier. So
Yeah.
I think they're going to hold off till like August, September, then that increase. But like Carl said, everyone's going to be like, oh, that's because you're putting Call of Duty on here. If you raise it $1, $2, that's Call of Duty tax that we're paying to get it.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, will they do? Because like the thing with Call of Duty is they launch like 4, like Assassin's Creed. They got to launch with 4 different editions and all the stuff. There's the regular,
Yeah.
the cross-gen bundle, the hardcore edition, the veteran edition, the give us $500 for all this plastic crap, and your Call of Duty points and three loot crates and the loot boxes and all this other crap.
And the steel boxes that Burley just
Yeah.
devoured.
The steel
I
box,
see-
yeah.
I see so many people online crying about all these Ubisoft like tiers, right? For Assassin's Creed Shadows, and before that, the same thing they said for Star Wars Outlaws. And they look at like, oh, they're just trying to get you to buy the subscription fee. I'm like, is that bad? Like, it's an option. If I was to subscribe to Ubisoft Plus the day Assassin's Creed Shadows come out, then I also get access to everything in Star Wars Outlaws. I can play any number of I could play the Prince of Persia game. I could play Skull and Bones. I could play all the old games. You know, I mean, the value is huge for. I think there's a lot of people who would look at that and say, "All right, I'll give that a try," and it only costs me this much for this month. And if I don't like it, but it would take you several months of that to equal, you know, the price of the one game.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting, you know, because you got the Indy Jones game coming soon, and then you've got Avowed's coming, and some of these other big games that are going to be day one. You know, what is it? The Chernobyl game that's been delayed several times. That's going to be coming soon as well. So yeah, we'll see what their strategy is for actually when they're going to hike the price of Game Pass. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to a game that just came to Game Pass this last week.
Soon on PlayStation.
What's that, Fubu? What did you say?
And soon on PlayStation.
And soon, you think it's coming to PlayStation?
Maybe.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
6 months to a year. I'm calling it now.
2 year.
It could be everything.
Hellblade 2
at some point.
So its reception and our thoughts on this game. So I've put about, and let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get the trailers going for this because it's some good stuff. So I've put about 6 hours in so far into Hellblade 2. Visually, it's the best game that's been produced this generation so far. It is that great. Is it a walking sim that some people are saying that it is? Yes, but I think it's intentional because they want you to see the environment that Senua is, exposed herself to in this game. And it's a beautiful environment at times, and then sometimes it's very just freakish and just hellish, if I can say that for Hellblade.
This tunnel crawling stuff, man. It's so claustrophobic when you're doing.
Yes, this game, if you are claustrophobic, it's probably not the best game for you to play. I mean, because the sequences in the caves and the darkness and all, I mean, this game just goes to another level from the first game when it deals with psychosis. You have to play. Obviously, you have to play this game with headphones on. I mean, to get the best experience. And Those two other women that are like talking, it's like, don't go there. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You shouldn't talk to them. Don't trust them, or something like that. I mean, throughout the whole game, it's just, it almost kind of makes me feel, like I'm getting psychosis in a sense. But it's necessary to understand what Senua is going through in this game, and her development, her character development in this game, and how she's able to deal with this form of psychosis, and how she's improved upon how she's able to deal with it from the first game. It's amazing. When it comes to the combat mechanics, I really love the mirror that she can use, and it's like it saved me a bunch of times in combat situations. And actually, you can use that mirror to deflect like spears and spikes that are being thrown at you. You can actually throw them back.
Oh yeah, I did that once. It was really cool.
Yeah. So I mean, it's so far I haven't finished it yet, but I'm getting to the point where you go up against the giants there. That one giant that's in the cave near the ocean there. So yeah, I'm loving it so far. What are your guys' thoughts on the game? Carl, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I played 7 hours,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm deep into it.
Almost done then.
Probably, yeah. I assume. I know it's not that long, right?
Yeah,
but
some people are saying it takes about 6 or 7 hours. Some people they played it for about 12 or 13 hours. So it depends on your pace.
Yeah, if you're looking around, you're taking your time, whatever. I don't know. But the puzzles maybe take you a little bit longer if you're there. Very much like the first game, right? This is a sequel to the first game. It is doing pretty much all the same stuff the first game does, but it is building upon that in significant ways, I would say. Maybe not in the ways that people wanted or expected. That's on you if you expected that, because they really never said that. They've never really shown that. Everything we've seen, I had hoped it too. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I thought that they would have gone a bigger scope, but they didn't. And once we saw more of the trailers, right? Once we saw for example, like the last one they showed at the showcase, and they didn't show us really anymore. That's when I was like, all right, I get it. It's not going to be that, because they would have shown it, right? And then the direct happened, and again, they didn't show you any deeper mechanics there. So like you had to have known by that point. Maybe you're just being a little bit naive or delusional to think that it's gonna be much more than what the first game was. But this game is like it's an experience. I mean, especially with the headphones. I could tell you I did not play the first game with the headphones, but everybody says that. So I'm like, all right, let me do it on this game. And I'm like, oh yeah, like this is the way to play this game for sure. I mean, because you feel emotions, right, by playing this game. And not a lot of video games do that. And that's what's incredible about this game. There are like, the voices like making her doubt herself, right? It's so interesting how the voices are, sometimes they agree, sometimes they disagree, right? Sometimes they insult her, sometimes they give her platitudes,
especially that deep voice.
Place.
That deep voice kind of reminds me of Darth Sidious in a way. It's like, you will never do,
it's so interesting. Combat isn't significantly better than the first game, right? I think it's marginally better, but I would say that it's better at achieving what this game is trying to do, which is again be this experience, this idea like of Senua struggling and surviving and getting through this whole event, right? I think like the game wants you to not die, right? And maybe that's counterintuitive to a game, right? Because that maybe you would think it's too easy because of that.
Yeah.
But I think that's the idea. It's like it wants you to be in this place. It wants you to live it, right, and feel it. And the more gamey stuff you put in it, the less you feel that, right? When you play a game and you're like, I could just die and start over. Well, that makes you feel less, right, about what's going on. Lets you feel less in the moment, right? This game is all about immersion.
Yeah.
So like even the mirror thing you're talking about, the focus thing in combat,
Yeah.
actually at times I'm like, this is a little bit taking me out of it sometimes. Like it's sort of a crutch. Like I feel like it's there,
Yeah, it's a
so you
crutch,
die
yeah.
less,
Right.
because
Yeah.
Parry timing is tricky in this.
Right.
I do like that in a sense that you're not doing it all the time, so you're not feeling like you're this incredible warrior that can't be stopped, because
Right.
she's not supposed to be that. She's supposed to she's just tenacious, and she barely manages to get by. Like there's so many times in this game I feel like I just barely survived, right?
Right.
I never know really when I'm gonna die in this game. And that's cool. I like that experience. I know this game is not for everybody. I get that for sure. It definitely isn't.
And I like the dodging. I like the dodging. When they're breathing the fire at you, and you have to dodge it, and then come in for another strike and all. But I agree with you about the mirror. It's more of a crutch, to help you. But
like the animations are amazing. The dodges, the parries, all those attacks. The what's cool about the parry is that if you don't time it perfectly, like obviously you're not going to get the advantage, right?
Right.
It's very dynamic when you get it. It's obvious, and you get the advantage, and you're going to kill that enemy, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't, that doesn't mean that you don't parry at all, right? She can still block the attack, but like she struggles to it, like she barely blocks it, right? And you don't gain an advantage, right? It just sort of it might slow you down, or you're continuing in the combat without having succeeded at anything. You just survived. And that's cool to me. I do wish there were maybe one or two more options in combat, right?
Yeah.
And the puzzles are pretty much the same of what the first game was. They added
they're not too
one
difficult,
other layer to it.
Yeah.
Later, like it's not in the beginning, but as you go a little further, there's another layer to that puzzle. But it's more of the same with an extra layer on top of it.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's also part of the immersion. Like they don't really want people to be stuck there, like beating their head against the wall. Like, why can't I get through this puzzle? Right? Again, that takes you out of the game. It takes you out of the experience. It slows down the story that you're trying to tell. You want her to have to like at least have some struggle, but be able to overcome it, right? So you don't want to be like, I'm throwing your hands up, like, I guess I'll go on the internet and figure out how to do this one. Like, you don't want your player to do that for this game, because you don't want them to step away from it and feel that.
And you shouldn't have to. I mean, I don't think the puzzles are that difficult to have to do that. But
and I will say, this is not the type of game I would buy. Like, I didn't buy Hellblade 1. I only played it because it was on Game Pass. And when I did play it, I loved it, and I was like, this is a really awesome experience. But I wouldn't have necessarily bought Hellblade 2 either, right? It makes sense for me as the type of gamer I am, like, to do this on Game Pass. I like that. Right. Maybe I would have bought it and resold it, but I couldn't do that.
The Game Pass patience, Carl. Yeah,
right?
The Game Pass patience. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll always go back to like Uncharted 2. Like I rented that game, and it was a short game, and it was a cool experience. It's very much like it's an experience game like this. It's a cool action adventure, like set piece, blockbuster movie, right? But it's short, and you run through it and you're done. And like, all right, I'm done. I wouldn't have bought that, but I'm happy I played it,
Yeah. Burley, Fubu, your thoughts on the game so far?
I'll let Burley go. I talked a lot last time.
Yeah, see, I'll be honest, I have not played Hellblade 2. The first game I bought on Steam and did not gel with me. I have watched people play this. Like, I will give it graphically, this game looks great, and they've done very well with it. And the sound design is top notch, and with the whole thing with the different voices in her head and all that is great. But this is not a game for me. I can be completely honest. Like, I do give it credit for trying to, build this immersive experience and all that, but it's just not for me. Like, the puzzles in the first game were not something they were like, this is okay. Combat was very, very basic. And from what I've heard, they really didn't do anything really much to combat in 2. So it's like, so I really got to hope, like, the story from this doesn't, from what I've seen, has not grasped me like, oh, I really need to sit here, play this, and experience it myself. It seems like, okay, I'll watch the rest of this when I get time.
Come on, Burley, you got to play it just to go through the caves.
Yeah, I mean, like watching it doesn't really do it justice. Like, it's cool to look at, no doubt.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely worth looking at. And maybe if you really want to experience that way, that's totally cool. But like, if the experience at all grabs you, which I guess it doesn't, then yeah, that's fine. But like, it's worth playing because, again, it's an experience. It's gonna make you feel things. That's not gonna happen if you're not playing. If you're not, in there, look, feel like you're in control of it at all. Which I will say at times, sometimes you don't feel like you're controlling it. That's true. Like, and maybe that's partially. I mean, that's partially because of the type of game it is, but also partially because of like the way the combat's designed, and that everything is like mocapped animations, and they all look so real. At times, you're like, "What did I really get that? Make that happen?" But like, I feel like sometimes like the combat is definitely all like what you do, but sometimes it just feels like you didn't necessarily do all that.
Yeah. Like, I'll eventually probably try it, but I am in no rush on this game. Like, there is nothing that makes this stand out that I need to play this today. Like you know what I mean? Yeah. This is one of those things I can wait. I will retry the first one and see if I can finish the first one. Like I said, the first one just did not grab me. I gave it 2 hours. I was like, okay, this is not for me.
Yeah, it's another Viking story in a sense. Yeah, but I'm intrigued by it. I mean, the story is interesting, and the character development, especially with Sinua, and where she goes, and very emotional. Yeah. So, Fubu, your thoughts on it?
Well, I haven't played this one yet. Carl,
but man, what is this? We got these 2 PlayStation people on here that they're just
they didn't do their homework.
I haven't played it. Yeah,
hey, I've been playing a lot of Nintendo lately.
I haven't played the game. It's like,
no, but seriously,
I
do have the first one on the Steam Deck. Thank you for that, Pearly. You suggested the time to get the game, if I recall it right. When I got Steam Deck on the Christmas time, I did play. I'm not Burley. Like, I'm playing.
No, you
stuff.
are not Fubu. You are not Burley, and Burley is not Fubu.
No, I'm.
Careful
And Expat
where
is not
you tread
Carl.
here.
Carl is not.
They're twins. What are you talking about?
Yeah, PlayStation
yes.
twins, right, Carl? Yeah.
We're very similar.
No. Okay, I'm gonna put my foot down right now. We are all multi-platform gamers on this show.
All multi-platform.
That's right.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's right. Go ahead, Fubu.
I play. Look. I do have here the Persona for the Switch. Thankfully, I promised I was going to give.
Speaking of Persona, what did you guys think of these leaks that came out about Persona 6?
No, I haven't seen anything.
What was the leak?
For example, the artwork for the game that leaked.
I haven't seen that.
It has the green kind of aesthetic to it and all. So for kind of like the carbon.
I haven't seen any of that.
You just go on. You can just go online and search for it. But no definitive leaks about when it's going to launch or whatever. But
there's rumors that it's going to get announced at one of these showcases coming up here.
Well, I mean, if all these Persona what is it, Fantasio, that new game that's coming? Yeah, that's going to come to Xbox day one. So Persona
As long
6
as it's on Xbox One, I don't care where you announce it. Like, I'm still gonna play it there.
as long as it's
of course.
everywhere where it
Yeah.
should be. I mean, it should be
Yes.
everywhere for all gamers. So anyway, Fubu, let's get back to
Let's
the
go. Let's
Hellblade.
get back on track. Yeah,
Your
but
thoughts?
I'm playing on the. I haven't played. No, seriously, I haven't played the second one, obviously. But I did play the first one. I'm enjoying the first one. Like when I have time, like when I go somewhere, I know I'm gonna take some time to be there, and I don't want to get bored because I hate that. I take my Steam Deck, and I play that game a little bit. I like the combat. It's simple. Like I don't need to play a Dark Souls type game, like combat stuff. I want
Right,
something simple.
right.
Like I want something simple. The story, I do like the voices. I do take not my headset but my earbuds or whatever, so I can hear it with both the sounds. That's beautiful. Like I don't know why more games haven't done that. I love that. The puzzles, the puzzles are a bit boring. I'm not gonna lie. It's a bit boring, but I do like the game in general. The first one, the second one, like, I'm sorry, Carl. You were talking, and I'm pretty sure you were saying great stuff, but I was like, "What the hell is this game? Like the visuals, they're beautiful." I was like, if you rewatch this, I'm reacting, but I'm not reacting to you. I'm reacting to the game. I'm like, no, I loved it. That giant. For a moment, I thought it was a prequel on Attack on Titan or something. It was beautiful, man. I really like that. But when it comes to the reviews, there's something that really surprised me. Because I did watch the reviews, and I thought more people would have higher reviews. I do feel like there were perfect reviews, like 10s out of 10s, 9 out of 10s. But then there were others. I think there was one, I can't remember right now, but it was a 5 out of 10. Then there was a 7 out of 10. I was expecting the way the game is to be better reviewed. And then there's another thing that I promised we were going to talk about it. There was virtually no marketing done for this game. It was announced, we talked on showcases, but you didn't see a lot of that. And other content creators that I see, obviously, a lot of them were saying, I had no idea this game was going to come out until I saw it out. So I think this game lacked some marketing behind it. It did have some, of course, it did have some because, the marketing on this group, on this podcast, was Expat, because he's been talking about this game for a long time. So I knew the game was going to come out.
I was highly anticipating this game, and I'm loving it so far. I mean, it's a great game. I mean, it's just, I agree with you, Fubu, that the marketing could have been better for this game. I mean, to take the book from PlayStation and how they would market games. I mean, this would have been all over commercials on TV.
Yeah, but if they did that, that's probably the budget of the game, right? Like you're doubling the budget of the game, and I think that puts the game in a place where it's going to have to do a lot better than it probably ever could.
That's why it needs to go multi-platform, so it makes more money.
But even if it was, I'm still not sure. Like, it obviously, yes, that would mean more sales, but I don't think this is that type of game, right? Especially if you went in, you saw some, marketing for it, and then you went and played it, not having any idea what kind of game it is. You're expecting like God of War, like you're gonna be like, what is this garbage? Because it's nothing. It's not that type of game at all. As far as
Carl, that's something that's something that I really respect on Ninja Theory, because they got they had the first game, and they decided to continue this game. From what I've seen, they continued the same way. The game is the same. They didn't went, the game was a success. There's some people waiting for this game. Let's try make it a little bit more actiony. Could have gone that way, make it a game a little bit more action based. But no, it's like you guys were saying. It's the walk simulator. They make you walk to see the world, and the views that I saw in that video while you were talking, Carl, the views are beautiful. It's great. The animation, everything is it's beautiful in that game. So I really respect Ninja Theory for continuing like this.
Yeah. And one thing I want to point out too is when it came to the development of this game, they really, really focused on getting expert opinions on psychosis from those that suffer from psychosis, as well as professors that are experts in psychosis to help with the development of this game, and I think that really shows as you progress and as this game goes on. I mean, and I'm really glad that Ninja Theory did that.
Yeah, and I can actually verify some of the stuff that happens in this is fairly accurate, just because my wife, her father was actually diagnosed schizophrenic, and she we talked. I actually talked to her about this thing, the game. Things were happening in the game, but we've talked about this stuff before, and you would be very surprised to find out some of the things that someone with schizophrenia actually sees and hears, and they are what you things that are in this game. And obviously this is a more fictional setting, but in the real world version of it is pretty close.
yeah So we shall see. It'll be interesting to see what the sales numbers are on this, and of course how it does on Game Pass, and of course the reviews have been very, very good on this game. So excited to get to the finish line on it for sure. So,
Look, I think it's worth trying. If you don't know anything about it and you're interested, go in knowing that it's not going to be like a very technical, deep gameplay type of thing, right? It's an experience. If you've played walking simulators, this is a walking simulator with combat, right? Basically, right?
With combat and amazing scenery. Yes.
Yeah, incredible.
Sure.
And the character models. There are times when I'm like, that looks like a real person, and it's hard to tell that it's not.
Right.
Like
a movie.
I wouldn't say it's like that all the time.
Like a movie.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also when I'm playing this, I'm also like, this should also be a movie, because it would be an incredible movie.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, but I don't know if this experience would be the same if it wasn't, you having some control, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
It's unique and it's worth checking out, and you may love it, or it just may not be for you.
Yeah. So my question is, I haven't gotten to the end of the game yet, but I would assume that most likely they left the door open for a third game. I would think.
We'll see. I haven't gotten there yet. I don't know.
From other people I know that have played the game, you can tell they're leaving things to go for a third. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. And just think if there is a third game, if it would be more open world, and it would be more in a kind of more in a civilization where there's more like NPCs or more people, walking around or running around or something like that.
There are parts of the game where you see more people.
Yeah.
I think it's just a weird setting. Like, it's a part of the world and the time in a world where there's just not a lot of people, right? There's small settlements and groups of people here.
Yeah, I think it is set around the time, if we're comparing it to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I think it's around that same time frame. Because of the Vikings and all. So around maybe the 9th century or something like that, 9th or 10th century.
Yeah.
So the third game you're fighting Eivor. Got it.
Yeah.
I would wonder. No, Eivor and Senua, they become partners. And
Look, if they do a third game, I think they're just going to do more of the same, right? And of course they'll make some other additions or changes, right? But I don't think it's not the type of thing where anybody should tell these people, just make it more like this other thing. That's at that point you just say no. I think you should tell them, say, look, maybe we can't justify the budget for that, and can you pitch us something else? Right?
Yeah, we shall see, but
but Ninja Theory, don't worry, they already have their next project greenlit to work on.
So they're not gonna. They're not
out there already. That was already said, and they're also saying that's not Project Mara. This is something else as well. Which Project Mara. That's another thing is I don't know where the status of that is. That was so long ago that they talked about that.
Yeah,
I had that weird little teaser thing that they released.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you never know. Maybe they were developing these two at the same time, and they could reveal it again at the Xbox showcase and say it's coming next year. I mean, who the hell knows? I mean, again, we don't know the scope of what that game is at all.
Yeah. So I agree, Carl, that I think Ninja Theory is pretty safe at the moment. Yeah. So but anyway. All right. So so that's I think that's going to do it for this episode. But before we finish, I just want to let everybody know that of course, on the gaming side of things, we're going to be, of course, covering all the events, with the podcast episodes moving forward. We got a couple of new shows that are going to be coming out soon. So we're going to be talking about those, and really excited. And of course, please be sure to watch all of our other entertainment and pop culture related content here on the Arena Productions as well. Of course, Star Trek Discovery is going to be finishing next week. And then in June, we've got Star Wars The Acolyte that's going to be starting up over on Disney Plus. We're going to be doing recap and reviews of that.
Good. It looks very good.
Yes, it looks very, very good. We're very excited for that.
It's in my island.
Yeah,
that's where I live.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, on Madeira Island. Yeah. So, and of course, House of the Dragon season 2 is starting in June as well. Excited for that. So we're going to be doing some shows about both of those shows, as well as some of the other content when it comes to Marvel and the fantasy shows as well. So
The Boys,
looking forward
The Boys,
to that. And The Boys is
well.
coming as well. Yep. So we're going to be doing stuff on The Boys. So busy times ahead, and we've got the Xbox showcase and the Call of Duty show after that. Burley, are we going to have a PlayStation showcase, or what happened with that? I mean, yeah.
Oh, here's the thing. Sony is weird with their thing. Here's the thing. They could put up a thing any minute, like just say, hey, Tuesday we're having a state of play, and just throw a tweet out there, and it'll go like wildfire.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it would be a state of play at this point and not a full showcase, unless they're gonna, it's gonna be into June, right? But the rumors were this month. I'm like, well, you got 1 week left. Like, if you haven't announced it yet, it's probably a smaller state of play
or something. Yeah.
Please let the one rumor be true. Come on, Lego Horizon game.
You really
all
care that much
play.
about that?
Well, what's
It'd
the
be
deal
something
with?
different.
It would be different, but I don't know.
Well, what's the
Lego
deal
games
with
are fun.
Naughty
I like
Dog?
them,
I mean,
but
Naughty Dog is supposedly they have another project that they're
they have like another
working on
IP,
now.
like a new
Yeah,
IP.
another
I think
IP.
they're working on.
Yeah.
They have new IP, and Last of Us 3 is being worked on.
Yeah.
Don't
There
kid
were-
yourself.
Yeah.
There were two rumors out there saying that one, Wolverine's not going to be shown at whatever this is, which I hope not true, because I want to see it. The leaks we saw looked incredible, and X-Men 97 was incredible. I'm like,
Yes.
I want X-Men, I want Wolverine.
Yeah.
Listen here, bub.
Yeah. And then the other one was that like there's going to be an Astrobot game revealed within 2 weeks, and I'm like, all right, well then I guess that means the showcase is coming, or
give us
something
more
is coming.
Xavier and Magneto for sure. Yes, definitely. So,
Oh, that series was so good.
yeah, so good.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
please
And then,
be sure to check out our recaps.
Yeah.
Burley and I did.
There's
for
Summer
that
Game
show,
Fest, right? There'll be plenty of
Summer
stuff
Game
to show
Fest.
there.
Yep. Keeley.
And then there's
It's
Ubisoft
gonna be a
Forward.
busy season.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a busy
Oh.
season.
Now,
busy.
Summer Game Fest, I think, has an in-person event this year.
Yes.
And I saw that they said Avowed and Indiana Jones will be playable at Summer Game Fest. So we're going to get firsthand previews
Nice.
of people who actually play those games. So I'm very excited to see that. Hopefully good news,
Yeah.
And we have what's their faces? IGN is interviewing Phil Spencer in June.
yeah.
So that I'm really interested to see on that.
He's going to have to answer some tough questions for sure.
Yeah.
I know he'll be prepared for it. Will people like
And
those
I'm
answers?
sure.
I don't know. Probably there will be people who will never accept his answers.
Well, and I'm sure there's going to be one person in particular to probably prep him for the questions that IGN's going to throw at him. And she used to. I won't say her name here, but she was
Oh,
she was at IGN.
Who worked at IGN? Yeah.
and she's working with Microsoft now. So, all right, so that's going to end our show. So I want to thank everybody, and like I said at the beginning of the show, thank you so much for all of you that have been patient, waiting for us to make our return. And thank you so much, and we're looking forward to bringing you more great episodes of the Arena Multi-Platform Gaming News Podcast weekly on Saturdays, 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So thank you so much. And of course, as always, to end our show, our indie recording artist spotlight. And before I get to that, just want to say from next week's episode, we're going to go back to our traditional format of the show, talking about, of course, games we've been playing, games that we will be playing, as well as our picks of the week. We'll get back to that next week. So until then, yes, so we will go back to our traditional style next week. But to end the show, our indie recording artist spotlight. So this week's spotlight is on Matt Stewart Evans. So Matt Stewart Evans is a self-taught pianist and composer based in London. Matt has performed live in Europe and across the UK at events like Daylight Music and Brudnell Piano Sessions online. He has over 25 million streams to date. So his work has been used internationally across a wide range of media and programming, ranging from documentaries, animations, and comedy to advertising and live events. From his album titled Quirky Neighborhood, and the song is called Conga Disco. So this has been the Arena Multi-Platform Gaming News Podcast, episode 171. I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley of Burleman Gaming, Turn-Based Carl, and Fubu87. We hope to catch you in the next one. So take care, everyone, and enjoy your gaming week. Peace.